Okay, we are live with the Survivor Washington after show for episode 3. I'm one of your hosts, Jaden Osborne, and with me as always is resident superfan Heather Cannon. And Marissa, you asked me to come up with a nickname last time. I forgot. Oops. What'd you say?
Yeah, you had one job.
I'm so sorry. You can just be resident superfan too. You said you wanted a regal title. I'll come up with it later.
Queen of Mean.
Queen. Okay. That kind of works.
What do you think mean? What does this mean stuff all about? I evidently am mean? I don't know. People just need
It's not said in a loving way, not in like a super serious way.
Yeah, it's
like
endearing.
a fun kind of mean, not a bad kind of mean.
Yeah, in the best way possible. Okay, so I'm with the Queen of Mean, Marissa Allen, and the Queen of Gay, Heather Cannon. I don't know what I'm the queen of, but yet to be determined.
You skew slutty. I don't know why are you wearing so many items of clothing? I don't understand.
I don't know if that fits me. It's up to debate.
Oh, it will.
It will.
No, it will.
Anyway,
that sounded like a threat.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to be talking through the episode. If anyone's in the YouTube chat, please leave as many comments as you want. We'll get to them at the end of the episode. We'll read them throughout. Yeah, or you can just tweet us or anything. But do you guys want to get started?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Sweet. Alrighty. So we open up at the Covenado tribe after West has been blindsided, and everyone's basically got their water bottles out and they're just cheering.
They're real excited.
Yeah.
They're real excited.
They are so happy to get rid of West. I really enjoyed that they all, Erica says to them, should we choose again? And they do it. But the fact that she says, can we choose again, means that they've already choosed over West being voted out multiple times. So this is just like an ongoing celebration. They're like so happy that West is gone. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you think they were like Zapatera after they voted out Russell or something? Like, it's just West, you guys.
Like, I don't think my parents got that excited at my own like graduation. I haven't seen people get that excited at like weddings. That was like end of a war, or I don't know, like that was some next level celebration.
Oh, poor West. Anyway, they're all going around. They're all saying, like, Kaya and Stefan are just thanking them because they didn't vote them out. They're really appreciative. Erica says to Kaya, like, you guys could have voted us out too. Like, thank you just in return. Kaya rolls her eyes at this. I've noticed that Kaya rolls her eyes a lot.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing, but no one's picked up on it yet. But I'm, like, wondering if it's just going to catch her in trouble. Because she does it a lot. She did a travel council. She did it this episode.
Yeah. She, to me, is like the gym helper of the season. Like The Office, where she just sometimes people just say and do things, and you see this look at the camera of just like, this is what I'm stuck with. I'm stuck with these idiots. Like, I love it.
I feel like it's like a mix of Jim Halpert and April from Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Just need to get more of the attitude in there too.
That's a good thing. Sean and Kaya both get confessionals, but basically it comes out much like when Kaya shared the clue with the hidden immunity idol to Lindsay and then immediately regretted it later. She shared that she has the idol to Stefan. Stefan has gone and immediately ratted her out, but it seems like Kaya understands that she messed up by telling them this. Do you think this was
she didn't quite learn from her first mistake.
No. But yeah, how bad do you think this is going to be for Kaya now that Sean, Stefan, Connor all know about her idol?
I think it depends on how things go. It definitely isn't necessarily immediately an issue because Connor's been saying he wants to work with Kaya and Stefan in like their group. So it kind of depends on how things falls in terms of if that does end up being the way things go. Then it could be that they're working together. And if you're working together, it doesn't really make sense to be blowing up someone's game. So I definitely don't think it's like she's screwed now. It would be really fun to see her just like totally blindside everyone playing an idol at some point. So it's kind of a bummer that we're not going to see that because I feel like that would be amazing. But
it's going to be really good until it's not. And then it's going to be bad.
Sean just said in the chat that there's a nasty echo, so I'm not sure. I can't hear it. Just if you're in the chat, just let us know if there's that echo.
Is it me?
No, Sean says it's good now. Thank you, Sean. So basically, we get another Erica confessional, recap of knowing the idols and stuff, and then the very last ending of the scene is very. You were talking about like Wes is like the golem, looking for the hidden immunity idol. Connor's just at the well and screams out, "Redemption is mine," in the most golem-esque way.
The ring has been passed.
Yeah. So Connor's possessed now. I'm really happy for him, and I think he's in a good position now.
I'm so excited.
That was definitely my favorite moment of the episode. That cracked me up because I just love this whole Connor sort of being like, he's not a villain in terms of the story of the season, but like,
I want him to
sort of having fun with the villain mentality in a bit, because it's just so like, it feels so unnatural coming from him that it's just, but it's like you're rooting for him, so it's so much fun. Like just hearing him whisper, "Redemption is mine."
Yeah,
it just something feels so weird about it, but also so right.
He's so soft-spoken usually that when he came out with it, I was just a bit like taken back, like, whoa. Like I didn't expect that from him, but I loved it nonetheless.
Birthdays make people go a little crazy on Survivor sometimes.
True, it's still his birthday. So that's the last thing before the intro. Do you guys have anything else to say about Carbonato?
That's all I had.
Yeah. So they go to Wilkerson. They're pretty much recapping winning the challenge. And this is where Lindsay and Kitty propose an all-girls alliance to Sarah for the first time. Do you think it's like a good idea on behalf of Lindsay and Kitty to pitch? Do you think it was a good idea for Sarah to kind of consider? Like, just what are your general thoughts on like the all-girl alliance?
I mean, in general, I don't think that any alliance that's based around something as like loose as just like we're the same gender is like generally a good idea. If it just so happens that the girls get along, that's a different thing. But like, I mean, I guess pretty much all of the girls know each other at this point, except like Erica hasn't met Kitty and Lindsay. Is that pretty much Kaya hasn't met Saya? Kaya hasn't met Sarah, and more girl moments. Kaya hasn't met Sarah and Emma, but it's just I feel like that's more the kind of thing where maybe a couple girls make an alliance, and then if you like pre-merge, but you don't really make an all-girls one until you kind of know what the group dynamic is. But I mean, it could work out for them. I don't know. I'm always nervous about any alliance that's built around something that's kind of as flimsy as that, because a lot of times we see it doesn't work out for men or for women.
To me, when you go to a gender-based alliance, that's my cue of this is really reaching. This is someone who's maybe at the bottom or scrambling and looking for any basic thing that pulls us all together. So I think that's kind of a red flag on the play. I think the game's too intricate, and I think there's too many different dimensions to simply say, oh, we all have the same lady parts and we get our periods. We should work together. I think it's not that simple. And it's a once in a blue moon type of thing where it does just happen to all kind of come together and work together. One, but the odds are really not in your favor if you just kind of bag your alliance rather than kind of reading the situation.
Well,
yeah,
Lindsay,
I will say if it was like a strategic pitch more so than a real one, if that makes sense, from Lindsay and Kitty to get the other girls to vote out someone from their side rather than from.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of the flag to me.
But it's more like something Lindsay just kind of wanted to do, I think, from the start.
Yeah, that's
which
what
is understandable when you look at like legendary female alliances. Obviously, a lot of people are going to want to emulate that themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, because Lindsay talked about in all of her pre-game press, like, I really, really, really want to do like an all-female girl alliance. So the fact that she's been giving this opportunity, I feel like she probably would have tried to force it down the season. It's made sense, and she's really swung people to do what she wants here, which is really impressive. The next scene after this, though, was Brett talking to Setu about holding an idol and how he'd be like terrible at it, and he'd just be like paranoid like a walking by a cop with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That was really funny. And he goes on this big long, maybe it was just the editing, but he goes on this big long tirade about how he wouldn't ever possibly have the idol. And the scene ends with Setu talking to Brett and saying, "So did you ever find it?" Which I don't know, I thought it was funny because it was this long build up of explanation about why he wouldn't have the idol. And it was just like Setu wasn't paying attention.
I say this entire episode is basically Brett saying what I'm thinking as I'm thinking it. It was eerie, just the entire like mindset of why I would never want to find an idol and how I'd be if I found an idol, and a couple of things he says. It was literally like what was going on inside my brain. And I just love his explanation of why he would want to find an idol and how he would react to finding one and having one on his person.
Yeah, I like Brett. And then basically Emma kind of has some reservations. She thinks Kitty and Lindsay are threatening, but ultimately still kind of wants to go through it. I was going to ask you, we can talk about that later when it comes more to the vote. But the next scene, we jump right to Carbonado, and it basically opens with a Stefan confessional, which was one of my favorite confessionals of the entire episode. And basically, instead of talking about the game, he just plugs the quality of the show, and he says, "This is as good, if not better, than Real Survivor." Like, thanks, Stefan.
Yeah, I like that too. Thank you, Stefan.
It was like when you're watching, like, you go to watch the new Star Wars trailer, and the ad before the YouTube trailer is the actual trailer itself. And I was like, this is like good, useless advertisement.
Yes. Brief side note, did we ever discuss everyone randomly calling Stefan Stefan for a hot minute in the last episode?
I noticed that as well.
Okay.
Everyone's still saying Setu instead of Setu, Stefan. I don't know. I don't know how it all got mixed up, but it's really bad this season. Thankfully, I think
a lot of names to learn really quick, I guess.
I mean, well, at least Sheree's gone, so we don't have this problem majorly anymore.
Yeah, we move on to Setu.
Yeah. Okay, we have Stefan and Connor talking. Basically, oh yeah, so this is important. Basically, there's a plan that Stefan is talking about, along with maybe Sean, that they really, really, really want to save Brett at the merge. And of course, we know that they won't get that chance now. Connor seems a bit hesitant to do that because he's found more solace in like the Kaya Alliance and kind of wants to try his luck there. How big of an impact do you think Brett going has on people like Stefan and Sean's game, who are kind of counting on him?
Oh, they're done.
Yeah, no, I actually think that is definitely going to alienate some people, because he was someone on their tribe who was just linked up with everyone. And will they may be thinking, oh, it's our best interest to get him out because he's a threat? I don't think everyone is thinking that far ahead. So I definitely think that could be upsetting some people.
Yeah, I think anytime the minority sways the majority in that way, you're in trouble. That majority's in trouble at that point when you start seeing those fracks and cracks.
Yeah, what was so interesting, this is kind of cutting ahead a little bit, was that the tribe was split on Wilkeson, but it didn't feel like a split at all. Like, it felt like Lindsay, Setu, and Kitty were in control, and Sarah, Emma, and Brett were like at their mercy. But it wasn't that way at all. So I guess it really shows that how you carry yourself can kind of influence things a lot.
And just to say, people were singing. Sorry?
There's no reason Lindsay should have been able to kind of sway them that easily to take out essentially their bridge, where they could have stuck to having options. She basically pulled out the rug from underneath them and took out those options, where it's like, okay, now we've put all of our eggs in one female basket.
I don't know. Just to sing Brett's praises a little bit more, I think I made a comment that I think if Carbonado just for some reason lost every single challenge, I would probably put money on Brett to be like one of the last people standing, I think he positioned himself so well at Carbonato that it really does kind of impact all of their games now that he's gone. He obviously just had like kind of bad luck with the swap. But no, like really impressive game by Brett, even though he only went to 2 tribals. And yeah, I think this leaves Connor, Sean, Stefan, not Stefan, but just everyone on the old Carbonato at like a little bit of a disadvantage because, like you said, they don't have options.
And the thing is, no one wanted Brett to go home. So no one's going to be, I mean, I guess maybe Kaya and Stefan could be happy to see that he went home over someone from their original tribe, but no one who was on Carbonato with Brett originally is happy to see him go. So that could definitely cause some more fractures.
I think this was a big one.
Yeah. It's interesting that the group that was so down on the numbers, as we kind of tend to see, went in. It's like tied in one group and like outnumbered in another, but it was a group of the majority where someone went home both weeks in the swap.
Yeah, well, that's what if you look at
it.
Yeah, when we came into the swap, we had 7 Carbonato and like 5 Wilkerson. Like they were down 2 extra people, but now we're heading into the final 10 and it's 5-5 even. Like they've just balanced it out. The next scene is one I want to talk about. In my notes, I've written just a big "what the fuck" because this is a dramatic reenactment, and I have no idea what happened here. I talked to Hunter, and Hunter wasn't even 100% sure that this was a dramatic reenactment. But Stefan basically comes to the tribe.
It definitely was.
Yeah, I know. Well, Stefan comes to the tribe and he's like,
as a director and actor.
He's like, "Oh my god, guys, I've got to tell you, blah blah blah," being super dramatic.
If anyone has seen the movie called The Room,
I lived The Room.
This was Tommy Wiseau level acting. This was something all on its own.
Stefan was still like speaking English. He didn't sound like an alien. He just, it's not.
I will disagree with you.
Normally bad, I will say, as someone who's done lots of directing and sat in on workshops and who's been an actor in all kinds of different places. It's a pretty common approach that he took. I will say that. And Stefan, if you ever want some free acting lessons.
Well, the thing is, when they cut back to all the Carbonato tribes, like reactions to it, I thought they all looked like really genuine. Erica was reacting. I'm not an acting, like I don't know anything about it, but I thought Erica was acting like really, like actually surprised. So maybe Erica's just a really great actress. But I was just sitting there like so confused the whole time I was watching the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she was making comments that kind of, if you're reading it as a dramatic reenactment, kind of sounded a little bit like sarcastic. Like, like, that's new information. Was she the one who said, "Oh, that's new information"? I was thinking, no, it's not.
Maybe I'm just a really, really shit judge of who's acting. I think that's true. And then anyway, so that seems thankfully over. We go to Wilkerson and jump from my least favorite to my favorite scene, Vanity Corner, where they're just using the iPad as like a mirror and like checking themselves out, starting their own bus. That was really funny. I'm glad that I think this episode was good just to show how good Brett is as a character and like driving the entertainment and stuff. This was, even though it was his boot episode, I think it was like the best episode of Brett in general.
Yeah, this episode was a little bit of like a love letter to Brett, which is great because he is such a fun personality and he's so charismatic, and the episode has really showcased that.
Yeah. It's a weird contrast from the episode that Brett got. Wes got last episode, which was like everyone kind of suspicious of him, a lot of like negative second person view, and then the next episode they're all cheersing after it. This was like the complete opposite, over the top positive good episode. I don't know, it was really nice to see. But this is where Lindsay kind of drops the bomb that she needs Brett out, and she's gonna throw the challenge to do it. I think, considering she pulled it out and we saw what happened in the episode, it's like pretty universally agreed that getting Brett out was a good decision. Do you think it was worth throwing the challenge for, though?
I would say yes, just because she doesn't have enough information to really feel good about Kaya staying in the game.
Yeah. I suppose if Cabernet did go to tribal council, I don't know what would have happened. Kaya has an idol. She probably would have played it. I feel like, I don't know who would have gone.
I'm disappointed anytime there's a plan to throw a challenge and then the person who planned to throw the challenge doesn't go home. Those are my favorite kinds of episodes where they're like, we're going to throw this challenge and with this plan, and then it ends up being them. And that's just really rewarding to me. So this was a little bit of a letdown. It's like the opposite of what I wanted. However, I feel like your tip off to this may be them throwing it is when who is it? Both Sean and Stefan lapped the D1 track athlete.
This one. I have notes on that when we get to the challenge. First, but anyway, first, Sarah's basically committed to this idea of throwing the challenge, but she refuses to say that they're actually throwing it. She words it in like 1,000 different ways. None of them admit to throwing a challenge. She's just very like casually not win it, casually lose it, not trying as hard to win. As she kind of debates back and forth about whether she wants to do it, but it's very like justifying in your own head why this is okay. And then, yes, next up is the challenge. I noticed that as well when Sean and Emma like both took off at the starting line at the same time. Sean pretty much, like Sean's tall as hell, and Sean overlapped or like gotten ahead of Emma, and there was like an audible gasp from everyone watching, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He just
she's a D1 athlete. Yeah, that was sort of thing. Was it all a lie? Are we being lied to?
Does D1 athlete outdo, like, what is Sean, like 6'4" or something?
He's tall. Tall Sean, let us know.
Like, his legs are probably like double the size of Emma's.
Yeah, that's fair.
But she is a Division I athlete. Sean can even walk with those long legs. I don't know, but I feel like
Sean's not like just like a couch potato, though. I don't think
he's no D1 track athlete.
That's true.
Do we know that? Maybe that's his secret that he's going to reveal in the finals.
It's fine. Sean beats her.
Is there a step above D1 track athlete? Because I feel like Sean should automatically be on that. Olympic
athlete?
Is that above D1 athlete?
D0?
Oh, did I actually get that?
You did. Have you been creeping impressive. Or anything?
Oh, I jumped the gun a little bit as well, because they come into the immunity challenge and basically they have a plan that Stefan's going to enter first so that he can be on the side. He can whisper to Lindsay like, "Hey, you still throwing it?" and all that. They get to the challenge and immediately Stefan refuses to just kind of look at Hunter. He's so preoccupied on the fact that he's got to whisper Lindsay, and so he's doing this the entire time. And he waits for about 30 seconds. Like Hunter just starts his explanation, and he's obviously like ran out of his patience, and he just ends up like tapping her on the shoulder to signal because he's just done like waiting for her to look over. He's just very impatient, but it was really funny.
Still better than pulling a Bubba.
Yeah, think about the merge.
We didn't shout, think about the merge.
I mean, he may as well have.
Yeah.
Did anyone catch him though? I mean, also, didn't they all agree on doing that?
That's
so
the thing.
It wasn't really possible for him to pull a Bubba.
I feel like they agreed upon it, but the way in which they were going to do it. Maybe after the dramatic reenactment, they should have been like, hey, maybe we should have someone a little more low-key. A little more stealthy than this.
Well, we were at the final 11. I feel like there were 10 people in on this plan, and all of them were just not Brett. So there really
that's
wasn't...
what I was going to ask. Is you guys surprised that they so willingly and happily went along with this plan when they have 2 easy boots and still a clear majority with the original Carbonado people, that they went along with this plan where they want the other tribe to throw it when you really don't know what's going to happen at all?
Right.
Like the way that when you're calling the shots just in her conversation with Stefan makes it sound like she has the power over there, which isn't good with Lindsay in terms of the perception of the players that haven't played with her at all yet. But I wouldn't be super happy about that, because I'd be like, we have these people, because they're not closely aligned with everyone on their tribe. Like for Connor, yeah, he wouldn't want them to go to tribal again, but for all of them, it would likely be more in their interest than it turned out to be for them to go and to control the vote, compared to the other tribe going where one of their own could easily go home. So I was kind of surprised that everyone was so down for that. I don't know if it's just like I don't want to go to tribal self-preservation thing, but I just didn't feel like really thinking ahead or thinking things through, unless they just really like Stefan and Kaya and just really want to work with them or something.
Yeah, to me, it's like there's a time and a place to get rid of the people you don't want to sit next to at the end, the people who you don't think you can beat. And to me, that time and place is not pre-merge. I don't think you ever cut your numbers pre-merge for that reason. I think right before the merger, you take someone, you get rid of someone who might be an immunity threat, go on an immunity run. But other than that, I think you really keep your numbers tight to you going to that merge, so you can maintain that majority.
I think not even just from the Carbonator, like I think it was a risky move just for Lindsay and Kitty in general, because even from Lindsay's perspective, she's seen the idol clue. She hasn't found the idol. So she's got to assume that if she's had, 1.5 days to look for the idol, pretty much free roam without this clue, that someone's found it. And that person could have been Brett. Thankfully, she did a really good job blindsiding him, so that it didn't matter. But yeah, it was a risky plan, even though so many people were on board.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you think about the throwing attempts? Because Emma took 7 years to get back from the bush. Setu came back with the wrong bag.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If you're going to throw a running challenge, maybe, I don't know, don't send your D1 track athlete out first. That just seems a little suspicious to me. Maybe save her for last and make the people who aren't the normal athletic threats go first. I don't know. That's just the way to do it.
That's right.
Yeah. What's interesting is that I didn't realize this, I guess, on my first watch, but when Brett and Hunter did their exit interview yesterday, Brett said something about how Stefan had also brought back the wrong bag. When I rewatched today, I noticed that there was mention at Tribal Council of how the other tribe had brought back the wrong bag too. So it does seem like there was some legitimate confusion, and it wasn't it could have been an easy one to mess up without even trying to, apparently.
Yeah, I'm confused, where exactly they went around that corner. I wish I kind of shot at that. But
yeah.
I was like, what are they doing? Why is it so difficult? I thought they're just going to run down and back. I don't know. I just kept waiting. I was like, where did they go?
Yeah, the story behind that is that's one of the very few deleted footages. There was cameras and stuff there. It kind of got lost. So that's why you couldn't see where they went when they ran off. Events, yeah, the stuff that happens that'll be addressed next episode, I'm pretty sure. But that's why there was missing footage this episode. To my knowledge, it doesn't happen again though, so it's not like people have any reason to worry.
I do want to say in defense of, I know this is kind of delayed, but in defense of having Emma go first, I think it's that thing I kind of talked about last week when it's playing at something versus actually doing it, the way that Stefan was sort of playing at I'm on the bottom with the just his approach at Tribal Council trying to blindside Wes. I feel like if you don't have Emma go first, then that would be more of a giveaway than Emma just not performing up to expectations.
Just for clarification, apparently the corner is the merge camp. Brett said around the corner was into the forest alcove with a few forks in the bags were tied in 2 posts around trees. So yeah, that's what was around there. All the bags were in the same color, but we're told one tribe's bags were on the left and one tribe's bags were on the right. Okay, so that makes sense. And then Emma pretended to screw all that up. Same with Setu. They finally lose the challenge, and there was more. Brett mentioned this in his exit interview. More kind of bad acting, as he thought it was sus that Lindsay was going around kicking the dirt. Hunter asked her if she's okay, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm pissed." I didn't think it was exceptionally bad considering what we got earlier in the episode, but still, I don't know.
I think it was bad, but she just kind of managed to get away from it. Like that's not the way Lindsay acts when she loses a challenge.
Mm.
So that was just why it stood out to me so much. It wasn't because like the behavior on its own was so like absurd. It's just that is not the way that Lindsay does or ever has conducted herself. So it just felt very off.
Well, she also said that she felt like it was the puzzle solver's fault, which I get. You don't want to blame the people, but in what world? Like that was clearly like Setu and Emma's fault. That you're not fooling anybody. Like that's nice, but no. But yeah, season 3 applicants just get some acting lessons and maybe not try so hard.
If anyone wants to pay me for some Skype acting coaching.
Yeah, next summer all these kids.
I am pretty good at it. I do have a degree.
Well, there you go. Anyway, I think that's the last challenge scene. Do you guys have anything else to add to that challenge? No?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird challenge to comment on because it just wasn't really played. Yeah.
That's right. Well, anyway, we go back to Wilkerson camp. We get more Lindsay confessionals. Kitty and Kaya. Kitty and talking about how excited they are that they're through the challenge. Emma finally talks about her justification about why she wants the Women's Alliance, and it's basically because she perceives them as easy to beat in immunity challenges, and she just thinks she can beat them all. And then there's a Brett confessional talking about how it's Emma's fault, but mostly this is all just setting up. Brett's fucked.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah, he just wasn't aware of the grand scheme of things is all.
Yeah, there's not really too much to dissect with this scene just because it was so Brett's going open and shut. But there is one of my favorite moments of the episode is that Sarah has a confessional and she's basically just weighing up. I don't think that getting rid of Brett's going to be like the best decision for me. But oftentimes when there's a confessional, they'll kind of cut to B-roll of them. Like if they're talking about forming an alliance with Brett, they'll show parts of the conversation. In this particular confessional where Sarah was weighing up the options between keeping Brett and eliminating Brett, the B-roll for some reason is just Sarah talking about this like bridge collapse that like accidentally killed like 100 people. It was really, really odd. It had nothing. I think she was talking to Kitty because Kitty's an architect. I did engineering for a couple of years, so I kind of remembered the story. Basically, there was just a building, and it was harnessed up by a bridge, and it was harnessed up by suspenders from the roof, and it basically collapsed.
Is it at the Holiday Inn in Australia, Brisbane, maybe?
Oh, no.
It's like a Holiday Inn. It's like a hotel.
That's where I'm from. No. Maybe it's happened a couple of different times. But yeah, basically the bridge collapsed, crushed people, killed the people on the bridge. It was really morbid. And that's just like the B-roll for this random confessional that I thought was so odd, but like kind of funny.
Maybe it's some symbolism about the Carbonado tribe just collapsing in on themselves.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like a metaphor for something. Also, Sarah was smiling as she was talking about it. I'm like, that's morbid.
It is. And I apologize. It was the Hyatt Regency in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Easily confused.
You found that really quickly.
There was a Hilton bomb in Australia. It was like the first eco-terrorist.
Oh, no.
Was this recently?
No, this would have been like the 80s, 1989.
Oh, okay. 1996. I don't know anything that happens before that. Yeah, she's talking about the suspended glass walkway. That's all I have before we get to tribal council. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
I did want to talk just in general about Lindsay because last one or two episodes got me a little nervous. This one got me really nervous. The thing about Lindsay is that I think she's really good at making the things happen that she wants to happen, at least so far. The thing that I'm nervous about is that she hasn't been, I don't know what her intention is, but she hasn't been great about controlling the perception of her, because it's great for her to be making the moves, but the problem is that they're not even at the merge, and there are a lot of people who already know what she's doing and already know that she's someone that they need to take out. Like, Kaya hasn't said that specifically, but she said from the beginning that she was like willing to cut her and all of that. And we see Kitty saying she didn't come here just to vote for Lindsay. And so I definitely think, because she's been dominant, but she's been dominant in a way that everyone knows she is, which is really fun to watch, but makes me nervous because I want to see her win. And now I mean, the thing is now is that if you've already been dominant this much and people are aware of it, you have to kind of consistently be that way, and you kind of have to keep control. You have to be very, very proactive to keep, like, you kind of have to play, like, not full Tony, but like at least a half Tony to kind of keep that going. I don't think there's any going back for her, and that's what I'm nervous about. Like, Tony did happen, but Tony is kind of a miracle.
She's going to have to play a lot of this post-merge just on defense. That's even another thing. She's constantly been saying in confessionals, Setu will do whatever I tell him to. Setu's our Joe. We heard Setu say last episode, she said that she wanted to take Setu and Emma into the merge because they would fight. And we saw Setu say last episode that he wants to form an alliance with Emma. Emma said this episode that she's going to want to form an alliance with Setu. So there's obviously like a little bit wrong with like her read. And that's something that they can fight her in the butt. So
and that's the thing that we haven't really seen, that in terms of Lindsay, in terms of how she's playing, is we don't know about her ability to read if people are really targeting her all that much, or if things are going wrong, because other than that stray vote from Corey, that was just him kind of doing a crazy thing, and she did handle it well, but it wasn't like someone targeting her. Like, that's the closest to anyone even targeting her, never mind to her actually being in danger, that we've seen. So she's done really well so far. I'm hoping that she will be someone who has a good sense of that, but that's something that we don't know, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out on, I think.
Yeah. Well, then we jump straight into Tribal Council. I don't have many notes on Tribal Council. The main thing I have is Emma starts going on a speech about how she was the one that blindsided Wes from the other tribe. Like, she's got like a lot of confidence, and I think she definitely like planted the seats and all that. But we saw in the episodes that Emma really jumped on the let's blindside Wes bandwagon super late. Like, the wheels were already in motion before Emma got on. Really, yeah. What do you guys think of that?
I can't with that.
Yeah, I think it goes to show how I've been kind of hard on Emma in the past, but it goes to show how she is a great quote unquote character, but not necessarily a great player. She is starting to play now, from what we've seen, in terms of thinking through how she wants to position herself and committing to an alliance finally, where before we saw her with Erica, but she wouldn't commit to a group before when asked. So maybe it's a slow burn here, but
to be fair, this is her first tribal council since Molly was voted out. So it's not like she really had much room to or reason to commit to anything.
But she was never really in danger either.
Yeah. I have that, and then I also have Brett gives like a really bad speech right before he gets blindsided, but basically he talks about which way are the numbers going to fall, and he says he's confident they're going to go his way, and then you can kind of see everyone else smirk as he says that, which is really just like unfortunate timing.
Yeah. Again, the facial reactions in this tribal again are fantastic and painful and somewhat cringe. There's a whole spectrum. From, you see the people, you get people who are kind of like Lindsay like is like leaning off of her like stool, like cannot look in Brett's direction, cannot look at the votes, like she just wants to get out of there. You've got people smirking and smiling, and then you just have the evolution of Brett realizing this is taking a.
I felt bad when the votes were being read. He kind of. He was trying to keep a straight face, but he kind of looked a bit like gutted. I was like, I do like Brett. I think he would have been really, really good if he stuck around, but it's
one hurt for me.
Yeah, well, seeing big names go out pre-merge is always exciting. Do you
Yeah.
guys have anything else on Tribal Council?
I mean, I think it's just for me because I was with you and that it kind of hurt my heart a little bit seeing him go out, but just seeing the way other people were kind of like laughing about it, I think it was more of just a nervous thing. But it was just like at first I was just like, wait, are they crying or are they laughing? But I was like, they wouldn't be laughing, but they wouldn't be crying. And I was like, no, they're laughing. But I was like, that's not. I don't know. I'm guessing it's the nervous laughter thing, but I didn't like it.
We've been saying for weeks how we think he's in a great position, great spot. Like no one's brought his name up, not a problem. I really had like really high hopes from going really far, and I was shocked to find out that this was the end of the road to being such a good spot. But I guess they saw it as being too good of a spot.
I think it was a good read on Lindsay and just like a phenomenal, and Kitty as well. I don't want to shaft her and not give her any credit, but just Lindsay and Kitty to be able to pull off this is pretty incredible. Like it's a really good move and play for them.
Yeah, Kitty's kind of fallen into the background a little bit, but I definitely am starting to feel much better about her now that I did a few episodes ago.
Yeah, she's aware of her position.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she's not actively trying to change it just yet. That's basically all I have for the episode. So make sure if you're watching, send in your questions so we can get to those. Next episode, I'm pretty sure it's already been announced in Brett's exit interview, but next week's going to be the merge. So what are your general predictions? Do you guys have predictions for what's going to happen, where the alliance is going to fall? Is the Old Girl Alliance going to be a thing? Is Covenanter going to be a thing? Original Wilkerson? Yeah, what are your just general thoughts and predictions?
Well, so far, what Lindsay says goes. And from what Lindsay said, she's in alliance with 6 girls plus Satu. So that would leave everyone in the alliance except Connor, Sean, and Stefan. So if you're going on that basis and thinking that what she's planned is going to happen, that would mean one of the 3 of them going home. But of course, Kaya's with Connor. So I actually wouldn't be shocked as Sean as the merge boot. I'd be bummed, but I don't know. I could kind of see that happening.
What about you, Marissa?
I feel like if it push comes to shove and it comes towards that girl alliance, I think some of the more non-committal people like Emma might be in trouble. I mean, the merge is always so tricky, depending on who decides to go back to what they have, where they're going, and how that all falls versus who gets immunity. I could definitely see an idol being played at this next one. I could also see them
Kaya's
deciding.
the only one that has an idol, right?
Yeah.
Right, but I could see her playing it to keep her numbers, playing it for somebody else.
I feel like Kaya's one of the few that is not has a few different ways she can go. I mean, really what it comes down to, I think a lot of it is just how Erica, Sean, who else is there from original Carbonado that stayed there?
Connor.
Yeah, well, Connor's not necessarily going to be particularly upset from what we've seen, but I think how Sean reacts and how Erica reacts to Brett going out, they may feel like they can't trust those people, and so they may try to solidify something with Connor and Kaya. I know Connor said he didn't really want to go with the original Carbonado people, but if Kaya doesn't end up going strong with everyone who was on her tribe before, then that could be, it could kind of end up going down a little bit more to swap tribal lines than you would think.
Yeah, well, that's what this women's alliance. This women's alliance hinges on Kaya and Erica, both who have no idea that this is going to be a thing. Erica in particular talked about she misses Emma, which is a good sign, but she also is really glad that Sean in particular is on her tribe. And she was included in, Sean kind of listed off his names that he think can be an alliance. And he listed Connor, Stefan himself, Erica, Brett, who's gone, so that's not a thing. He wants to swing back in Emma and Sarah if they can, and then possibly Kaya. So he's looking at maybe 8 if they stick together. maybe a bit less if a couple of people strand off. Do you think that alliance has any legs?
I want it to have legs.
You wouldn't say legs?
Yeah, I want it to have legs, but you sent the legs out the door, and now it's a mess.
Oh, I'm embarrassed how long it took me to get that. You're talking about Brett's legs. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I can't see Erica being a rah-rah girl power, girls alliance just cause kind of person. And if she was someone who wanted to see Brett around, then she may have lost some trust in Emma and Sarah, but I definitely don't. I feel like she kind of think that it's stupid. This is reading into it a lot because we've seen very little of Erica, but I can't see her as someone that's like girl power. Like I see her as more just being like, well,
strategic.
Some of the people I want to work with are guys, so no, I don't. Especially because it's a 10-person merge, which is much smaller than what we're used to these days. So, and if there's 6 girls versus 4 guys, that really doesn't leave a lot of room. And Sean is definitely one of the likely ones to go home. I don't know what her relationship is really with Connor, but she's definitely not going to like that.
Yeah.
Well, with this in mind, do you think it was maybe a mistake to get out Wes? Because Wes probably could have worked it. They could have gotten out Kyra at that tribal council, and that would have completely neutered.
Yeah, I think the last 2 were a big mistake for a lot of people.
Fair enough.
But I mean, hindsight's 2020. Just Monday morning quarterback over here.
Okay, well, I don't know how many questions we have. I remember there was a question last week that we didn't end up getting to. Basically, the question was, who do you think will last longer, Sarah or Erica? So do you want to get to that now? Who do you think will outlast the other?
Erica.
Why is that?
I think she's got a better social game, and she's been more reliable, dependable, less flip-floppy. I just think she can navigate the social settings much better and insert herself kind of not abruptly, but kind of slide into different things.
I mean, Erica is also the person who had someone from another tribe who's clearly on the bottom come to her and tell her that one of her original tribe mates was targeting her and just believed it immediately. So that's really a red flag in terms of her long-term game. If she's that easily duped, then I don't know how that stands for her. I don't know. I like Sarah, but I'm still kind of mixed in terms of how good of a player I think she's been from what we've seen so far. Because it's hard because their tribe won so much, so I don't really know how good of a spot she was in on her tribe. We know that Brett wanted to get rid of her, but I don't know if she knows that, so it may have just not been in her best interest to stick like Carbonado strong. I think sometimes she comes off as very level-headed, and sometimes she comes off as someone who could sort of get antsy and make a move just for the sake of it. So I'm a big fan, but I'm kind of still figuring out where she's at as a player. We'll see.
Well, there's a couple of people that we haven't really touched on a lot. What do you guys think about Stefan's game now and Stefan heading into the merge? Because he's not in this women's alliance, but he was pretty much right directly under Kitty. Like Kitty kind of had him. So do you think he's kind of screwed by that, or will Kitty throw him a bone?
I mean, I also don't know how in Kitty is really going to be on a girls' alliance, because I think she's going to want to stick with Stefan. And not only that, but she already knows that Lindsay's someone she's going to have to get out. So I definitely don't think that this is a long-term plan for her the way it may be for Lindsay. So.
Because Lindsay seems hellbound on this being final 6, which would be, do you guys have anything else to add? I don't think we have many questions.
I think we've been kind of addressing the questions as we go.
Oh, here we go. Connor submitted. Do you guys think Lindsay's plan, at least Lindsay seemed to be the one behind the idea, to throw the challenge and get Brett out was a little early? Brett could have been a good threat to shield her at the merge, and she wasn't exactly certain that Kai would go with Carbonado, that Kaya would go if Carbonato lost the next one, considering Wes was voted out right before. Now that Lindsay and Kitty are big threats at the merge, unless the Girls Alliance actually happens. Yeah, so do you guys think it was a mistake to vote out Brett when they could have risked Carbonato and seen kind of what happened there?
Oh, I mean, I 100% say it was way too early. Way too early. There's way better options, and you just kind of took away your own options at that merge where now you're kind of locked into that all-girl alliance. You've kind of broken any other option.
She doesn't have to be, though, because she still has Stefan and Kaya on the other side, and whom she was aligned with before, and who knows from her perspective who they may have pulled in. So she could easily go along with Kaya, Stefan, Connor.
You've also screwed up your trust system too. You basically tossed one of your own numbers out. Said someone you
not
can
for
trust
Lindsay. Brett wasn't one of her numbers. Weren't we talking about Lindsay though?
Yeah.
We were talking about if it was a good move for Lindsay.
Oh.
Yeah, I still think it was a good move for Lindsay because not the getting Brett out part necessarily, but making sure that someone from the others, making sure that she's in the majority in multiple different regards, getting herself closer, being even with original tribe lines and with gender lines, and assuring that her closest ally in the game stays, because she doesn't know what the dynamics over there are. It may not be a guarantee that she's going home, but it's also by no means a guarantee that Kaya would stay. So I think it was a good move for Lindsay, Kaya, and Satu. I don't think it was a great move for Emma or Sarah, but I've also seen much worse.
Yeah, well, that's what this merge should be interesting, because we're going into it with 5 original Wilkerson, 5 original Carbonato, and then on top of that, it's 5 original of the new Wilkerson tribe and 5 original of the old the new Carbonato tribe, like the swap tribes. Everything's pretty dead even, except for the men to women ratio. That's a little bit off, but it's pretty, considering how smashed Wilkerson got like the pre-swap. Things are balanced out really nicely. There's a lot of animosity, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. But that's all I have for this episode.
One thing in Emma and Sarah's defense is that I don't know if this is intentional on their part, but by going along with Lindsay's plan, they're kind of letting her set herself up by just letting her have so much control. They're kind of inadvertently or not making her a pretty big target.
Yeah, they're letting her have that target. Someone's take that target that early on in the game.
Well, I'm curious, who would be both of your winner picks if you had to decide, like just from what you've seen of the pre-merge?
You know my pick. You know I'm here for Connor or Kaya. Like if they go final 2, sign me up. If not, I feel like I'm leaning Connor. I'm really enjoying this story arc.
I just want him to get more revenge. I just want the entire season just to be him getting revenge on just people that like petty things.
Yes.
Like they just like
the kid emerges from his locker he's been stuffed in to seek revenge.
Yeah. I want to see someone accidentally like
that's what I'm here for.
Knock his plate of cereal over and then like revenge.
Glasses
winner revenge storylines are always my favorite storylines. Sandra, Natalie, and like Chris in Vanuatu. Like I just love those storylines, so I'd be down for that. I think the ones that I don't have like one person, just because it's so hard to say without knowing how the numbers are going to go. But the people I have my eye on are still Connor and Kaya. Sean's still in the mix, and I would put Kitty back at the mix. Lindsay's not out of it, but I'm not feeling as great on her chances.
Yeah,
just because originally I was thinking Kaya was too obvious, or Kitty was too obvious of a target, and now I feel like it's switched.
Well, the people that you've just completely ruled out, like, there's no reason, not even necessarily for edit or just gameplay, do you think that they put themselves in a crap position? There's no way they're going to be able to do anything.
Emma, Sarah,
Stefan?
I mean, if he keeps his acting up, yes.
Stefan, I think, has kind of set himself up with you got Lindsay at the top and Kitty's directly under Lindsay. Kitty's directly under Lindsay. Stefan's under Kitty. So he's got himself like 3 layers of meat shields. It just depends whether he can overcome them, or like if he rides it out to the end with them, I think he's going to be seen as a goat. But he's set himself up in a position where he does have options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Stefan very easily could go far. The things that I'm worried about with him is that just because of how personable, I should say, I guess, with the other contestants, I still could kind of see him being that person that people are just particularly mad at him for voting them out. The other thing is that we just have to see more aggressive play from him, not like now by any means, but at some point we would have to see him play more of an aggressive game. And I just feel like he's someone who's so like thinks with his heart a little bit that I don't know if I could see him voting out someone like Kitty. Like he's been saying from the beginning, it's so hard when you get to know these people so well. It's so different than you would think. It's hard to vote them out. So I could see him being someone who maybe he knows what the right move is, but he can't bring himself to make it and he suffers for it. Or he just becomes someone who gets so close to people and then backstabs them and they just can't vote for him because they're so mad about it. I feel like one of those two is very likely, which it isn't. I don't know how you avoid that if you're Stefan, but those are just kind of the vibes that I get from the way things have gone so far.
Mm. Yeah, good summary. I think that's all I have to add.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Next week, same time, it's going to be a double boot episode. So we're going to get the first 2 boots off the merge. It's going to be a similar runtime, slightly longer. I think Hunter said it would be about the same length as the premiere. So have look forward to that. Next week, we're going to have an extra person on the panel for always. Brett's going to be joining us on the recaps. So from now on, it'll be me, Heather, Marissa, and Brett. So that'll be really good. So you guys have that episode coming Sunday. Thank you for watching.